This is William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. It's time to drop the puck and talk hockey with Nadia, Josh, John, and Jen. Big news in the NHL this week, not even on the ice. Seattle is getting their own NHL team in 2021. We take a look at what Commissioner Gary Bettman said this week, too. It's just so great. I'm so excited. Today is a day for celebration in a great city that adores and avidly supports its sports teams. Seattle finally filling the hole that the Supersonics had when they left in 2008. Josh, does the NHL need to have to change the expansion draft rules after what happened with Vegas?
Look, what Vegas did in their inaugural season was absolutely insane, but I don't think that means they should change the rules. They just had a good GM, they had a good draft. There's nothing you can really take away from that. I mean, they got to keep the same rules. I'm just excited for Seattle to finally get their team. It's a long time coming.
Join the club.
I mean, the news of a 30-second franchise expansion was a little iffy for me, especially because we just had Vegas, and I was like, and then I kind of feel for the Coyote fans too, just because they're moving to the Central, and that's kind of a death sentence for them. But as far as the expansion, I mean, like Josh said, it was just really good draft. A lot of the teams, the team itself got a lot of third-round picks anyway, so it's not like they stacked up. It's just really great teamwork, really great energy, and an all-around really good team.
John?
I think we have to remember that Vegas wasn't handed first-line players. When they were drafting these players, William Karlsson and others, they're third-line players. They're not in these big scoring roles at their original teams. So no, I don't really think it has to be changed. Vegas just did what it had to do, and they took control of their own destiny.
Jen?
I'm happy that we're getting another team in the NHL. It's exciting, but I do feel like it's way too much free range the way the whole system works and the franchise makes it work. Just with Vegas, I feel like they just stacked the team, and it was just kind of like bound to be. I mean, look at their standing last year, like the playoffs and everything. I just feel like it's too much free range. I feel like in the future they do need to look at the rules and regulations.
All right, Jen, we'll keep it with you now because it's your NJ Devils that are at the bottom of the Metro Division. If we take a look at the standings in the Metro, do you think they could get out of this funk, or will they stay at the bottom?
Personally, eventually they'll get out, but for the next few games, I'm definitely not feeling it. Yes, they won last night against the Kings, but they also won against one of the worst teams in the NHL against them, as they're sitting only one spot above them. So, I mean, it's like not anything really that interesting. I don't see them getting out really anytime soon.
It's just funny looking back on the beginning of the season, we were sitting here and we're talking about how hopeful the Devils fans were because they had their crazy winning streak, and, it's just, we're in a really tight conference, and it really is anyone's game at this point. We've seen it all season so far. It's like some of the people that I haven't, or some of the teams rather, that I didn't even expect to make it in certain standings, like the Devils, stuck, we're in a standing and they stuck it out. But my whole thing with the Devils is they are still too hung up on certain players producing. They can't rely so much on Palmieri and Hall to produce all of their all their goals for them. And then as far as goaltending, once Corey Schneider got back in net, it was almost like the whole thing blew
An embarrassment.
up. Yeah, and I mean Kincaid, like we said earlier this season, he held it, he was good, he had it out, and everyone's like, well, do we need Schneider? But because he has this veteran goaltending starter, thing to him, it's almost like him kind of not playing well affects the team because he has this image to uphold, and it creates this tone, and it all kind of just fizzles out from there. So I don't know how the Devils are going to pick it up. I personally don't see it. Of course, I'm loving the fact that they're at the bottom, they're staying at the bottom, but
I mean, of course, and I know coming up they're visiting an old friend, Adam Henrique, on Sunday, I believe, and I don't see a win coming from that either, continuing on my losing streak that I see. They're sitting number 2 in the Pacific. Sorry, you're not going to get a win from that. Sorry.
It really comes down to the goaltending. Keith Kincaid started off hot. I mean, everyone thought this is the goalie for the future.
Yep.
Then he starts to struggle a little bit. Then they bring Corey Schneider back from injury a little bit too early. He doesn't have a win yet. He's 0-5. The game against Tampa, where they recently just played, first shot on net when he got into the game in the third period.
First shot,
gave
not even
up
the
a
first
goal.
shot, the first 10
And it might have
seconds,
been-
literally.
that's like the the tone that he wants to portray. And it's like when as a veteran player, like sitting there and your team is seeing that, it's just like, I don't know, if I'm sitting there and I'm seeing like a captain or someone like Schneider that's just like, he looks like he doesn't want to play. It just looks like he doesn't want to be there.
He's drained. I think
But he's not
drained.
an old player. That's the thing is I don't understand.
Right.
It's not like he has this crazy yeah, he has games under his belt, but he shouldn't be beat up.
And he never really was an outstanding goalie. I mean, we'll never see anyone like Martin Brodeur ever. I don't think in the next century. Like, I literally don't think we will. Snyder, when he was at his peak, he wasn't horrible, obviously. I mean, he brought us to the playoffs.
Yeah, but even when he was a backup,
he was still nothing like this outstanding, oh, look at Corey Snyder. Like, it never was anything impressive. I definitely see him being traded within the next few years.
All right, let's move up north a little bit to the Buffalo Sabres, sitting at 17-8-4. Last season, they only won 25 games total. But if we take a look at some of their stats, it's kind of ambiguous to see, who they are. John, are they a threat to win this division?
So I don't know that they're a threat to win the division, but I definitely see them being in the playoff race. I'm going to start from the net out. You got Carter Hutton with a .917 save percentage, came over from St. Louis in free agency. That is their big addition, 2.60 goals against. He's keeping them in all the games he's playing. And then Linus Ullmark, the backup, again, .921 save percentage, 271 goals against. So there's definite potential every time they step on the ice. I think that they keep them in most games, and they'll be a threat at least around, February, March.
Josh, you're seeing something from these stats here.
I absolutely think they're a threat. I think Toronto and Tampa should be scared, because when we look at the stats, it doesn't look pleasing to the eye. Their power play, they're 22nd in the league, 15th in the penalty kill, 29th in the face-off win percentage, and 25th against shots against per game. The stats don't look good, but you watch this team play, it's insane. They're very talented. They're a fast-moving team. Their defense, their offense, their goaltending, they are just stacked all around. And not only that, but they're young. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. So going forward, this looks like they're a team that could compete for the Atlantic for a long haul.
I don't know. I mean, just given the Sabres' history, like they're not strong competitors. They've
because
never.
they didn't have the players, and now they actually are building. They got Ross Domlin.
I know, no, they do.
Overall.
They have, Skinner. They have all these great players, and they do have a handful of great rookie players. But it's like if you're going to base them off of how they've been playing recently, like we talked about the Devils. If we base them off of how they were playing recently, and then look at how they fell, I just don't see it sticking. They lost their last 4 games. They weren't playing. They haven't been playing well recently.
Well, they were on a 10-game win streak before that.
I know. So it's like, is this, like, what I'm saying is looking at them now, is this start to be their downfall, or is this just a little
absolutely
hiccup?
not.
I don't know.
This is a hiccup.
I just don't see them lasting when it comes to playoff because they've never made
You're
it.
not putting Buffalo in the playoffs?
No.
Really?
No. And
Why
if
is
they do,
this?
if it's a wild card, they're not making it out
Jeff
of the first.
Skinner has been playing out of his mind lately. You don't think?
All right.
You don't?
right.
Okay, this is it.
right.
Buffalo's gonna be in the playoffs.
If they make
guaranteed.
it, listen, okay, but if they make it, I don't see them making it out of the first round.
I think they'll be competitive in the first round. I think
they're not. They've
it all
never.
depends who they come down to.
But teams, when they make it into the playoffs, they're different hockey teams. You know that when a team makes it into there's a difference between regular season hockey and playoff season hockey. They don't know how to play playoff season hockey. They've never made it there. They don't know how to do it.
Okay, I think we're just going to agree to disagree.
All right.
I think you will, but you guys shook on it. Big old bet here on Sports Desk.
We'll see it.
That's all for this episode of WP Sports Desk. Thank you once again to our analysts, crew, and studio manager Al Clarke. From Studio B in Hobart Hall, I'm Dante Vacatoro, and we'll see you next year.